Welcome to Unpublished, a work in progress audio podcast by Denise Renee. Here I share past unpublished creative works, current writing projects, still in process, and whatever whimsical musings or deep thoughts I have about the creative process. If this is your vibe, then keep listening as I get into today's content. Welcome to episode number 6. Okay, so this is another quick and dirty recording on my iPhone. So please do not be looking for top quality audio here. Again, I'm working 60, 70 hours a week. Cut your girl a little bit of slack, okay? And I'm actually recording this. Today is Sunday, the 23rd. And I'm going to, by some magic, get this out today before it is 11:59 p.m. Because right now it is 1:20 p.m. And I have a job to log into in about an hour and a half or so. So we're going to get this done. And I literally was thinking, I was like, oh, you know what? I could do this next week. And I'm like, yeah, I could. But also, I had made a commitment to myself. And if I don't keep the commitments that I make to myself, what in the world is the point? So if you hear clicking, this is my old school binder. I'm just pulling my story out here. And so from last week, I promised that I would share this week and next week, I would share some stories from quote unquote, the early years. So this today is one of the stories that I started working on for my senior thesis. So, child, I'm not going to replay it. Just go back to episode 4 if you missed that. Okay. All right. So this one is called Under the Stairs Down the Road. And I just want to say one thing real quick to the people in my life who know me. For the people in my life who know me. Number 1, this is not a story about me. Number 2, that none of these events actually happened in my life. I will say that there are elements and some characters that are inspired by different situations. But if I were to tell you the real situations that were some inspiration, I mean, it's such a conflation. This is a work of fiction, okay? And number 3, the mother character is not my mother, okay? My mother would never, ever, not even. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there for the people in my life who know me and love me and who I hope will still want to love me once I'm done. But is the mother a strong Caribbean woman? Yes, she is, but she is not my mother. It is really, if anything, it's kind of it's like my commentary on an amalgamation of how I experienced things, not only within my own family, but from the larger community of Caribbean people that I grew up with. So it is not any one individual person. It is just a reflection. It was just my interpretation of how I was receiving messages about Caribbean people versus African American people at that time in my life. It's just my commentary told in a story. Disclaimer out of the way. And that's important because, like I said, in my last episode, this is part of what my senior thesis was about. So there you go. So anyway, enough preamble. Let's get into it. Under the Stairs, Down the Road. And again, I'm not going to edit this because I don't have time for editing. So you will hear page turns. You may hear me take sips. Sorry. Right now, done is better than perfect. Okay, I'm going for done here. All right, so Under the Stairs Down the Road, or Under the Stairs Down the Road. No, man, you do it like so. A quick flick, almost invisible, and the marble zoomed down the hall, lightly skiffing the tiled floor, sending its echo back to the two girls on their haunches, trying to see where it went. It hit a wall, then rolled slowly up the floor till it came to a stop. Adrian, the one who fired it, sniffled and wiped at her nose with the back of her hand, while the two bracelets around her skinny wrists clanked, creating a syncopated rhythm together with its echo. The trail of snot glistened brightly, even in the dim lighting against the blackness of her skin. "Okay, Makiba, try it again, but hold your finger them tight this time, man." Makiba pushed a beaded braid out of her eyes, but it returned anyway. She tried to balance herself on her left hand and knees, which were already poking through tiny holes in her worn denims. Her once red, now turned pink hand-me-down from her cousin's t-shirt pulled away from her body. If any boys were there to look, they would have seen straight to the belt on her jeans without a problem. "Make your fingers like this," Adrian corrected. She arranged the fingers on Makiba's right hand. "Now shoot." Makiba flicked hard and made contact with the area right below her nail. "Ouch!" she yelped, grabbing her finger and sticking it in her mouth. The marble didn't get very far. The hallway with its drab tan paint came alive with the sound of Adrian's laughter. "Hey," Makiba whined, "why you laughing at me?" She rubbed her fingers as she glared at her friend, who had her sundress clutched in her hands between her legs and was laughing with her head bent. Adrian tossed her plaited head back with grace that was beyond her 9 years. "'Cause, she said when she finally caught her breath, "you ain't learning this thing good. I've been telling you for days." She dragged out the word days. "You got to..." She let her words break off and looked down the hall as she heard a noise in the distance. Makiba looked up because she heard it too. Voices and feet thundered down the stairs. Young feet. Male voices. Before the girls could look at each other and gasp in sync, the boys were on the landing. They scrambled to get down the hall to remove the marbles and then get out of sight, but it was too late. Marcus, the group's second in command, had set his foot down on the 5th floor and slipped on a marble. Makiba's eyes went wide. Marcus reached out for the wall and saved himself from a fall. The other 4 boys behind him saw it and howled. Marcus turned around and glared at the girls. Clarence, the youngest boy, instigated. "Ooh, they gonna get it now. Is y'all stupid?" He went up to them as they backed up to the wall for support. "Y'all trying to kill me or something?" Marcus left his dark lips gaping where the girls could see his broken front tooth and 2 fillings, even though he was only 11 years old, clearly. Larry and Kenny, the other 2, snickered at the sweat beginning to appear on Makiba's brow. Adrian, who was slightly in front of her friend, swallowed hard and jutted her chiseled chin in his face. A 5th person was now bounding down the stairs. Bounding, indeed, sounding like they were tripping over their feet. "Marcus!" the voice belonging to the feet called. "Who you terrorizing now, man?" The voice sounded winded. Larry and Kenny made way for Tubbs. He was short and wider than a 10-year-old should be. Even though he was still in the 3rd grade, everyone still feared him. "Oh, this one." A smile of delight spread across his fleshy face. "See now, you can't be hogging this one to yourself." He pointed a chubby finger in Adrian's face, and she swiped at him and missed. "Ooh, I'm so scared." He put his face closer to hers as she recoiled. "Are you going to do voodoo on me? You probably a witch, an island witch." A chorus of laughter broke out among the boys. Makiba started to whimper. "What you crying for, cry baby?" "Hey man, will you butt out of this? These 2 tried to kill me." Marcus finally forced himself in. "See, she a island witch with that funny talk. Me from the island, man," he mimicked. The other boys egged him on with their laughter. Don't make fun of her," Makiba said feebly. "What you gonna do, cry baby?" Clarence piped up from behind Kenny. "Will you cut it out? I'm trying to handle this." Marcus turned to Tubbs. "Yo, what's wrong with you? I hate when you be cutting in on my stuff." "She ain't your stuff. I'm the only one allowed to mess with her. Right, y'all?" The other three never quite answered that question. Look, this my business, and I'ma take care of it my way. Marcus raised his voice and looked down at Tubbs. Who you getting loud with, man? Everybody around here do what I say. Tubbs pushed his body up on Marcus. The boys started hooping and stomping their feet on the stairs and yelled, Fight! Fight! With Makiba's tears frozen in their tracks halfway down her face, Adrian took her hand and slid her body along the wall as if it would open up and absorb her, slipping away virtually unnoticed. Unnoticed in the commotion until one lone voice silenced it. Adrian! Adrian! Girl, get your backside in this house here. All motion stopped, and all eyes turned as one down the hall to Adrian's mother standing, one hand akimbo, legs spread apart, as though in the middle of a cane field, hand on hip. What you doing up in the some boy face? And plenty of them too, if you please. Me ain't raising no thumb, girl, and me ain't bringing no heifer neither. Ain't self got no shame. Out here making plenty noise for the world to hear. Her free hand flew, striking the air as though punctuating her words. The boys had gone silent, yet were finding it hard to contain their giggles. Still holding Makiba's hand, she walked slowly away from her tormentors. She caught Marcus's brooding face and dangerous look that promised a not-so-lucky next time out of the corner of her eye. Tubbs snuffed the back of her head as she passed, and she sprang to slap him, but he ducked. The island witch got to go, he mocked, laughing. Shut up, she hissed. But what wrong with these American children, no? You ain't got no respect? Go on about your business, no? They remained fixed. Go, she commanded, and they moved. Slowly, so that they could see the spirit drained from Adrian in the presence of a source of fear great enough to affect her. You too, Makila, so just look go she hand. Makiba, whatever. Lad, your parents couldn't name you with sense? Go on just to see him. Adrian ain't gonna be playing with you today. What about the marbles? Keep them in practice. I'll catch you later. Adrian answered, her back to her friend. Her mother's hand reached out and grabbed her by the shoulder, forcing her to their open door. Me know why I step foot in this man country, she addressed Adrian, the absent members of the household, and no one in particular, all at once. You pick up them nasty ways. I hear her wondering, what is noise in my head? When me look out, 'tis my own daughter with she face up in somebody's face. Doing what I ask. She slammed the door for emphasis. And picking up some little pissy-tail girl. You better get rid of she if you know what's good. She spun Adrian's retreating back to face her eyes. I'm telling you, you ain't gonna be like she and she lazy people. You gonna be great and pass these people in foolishness. I thought I trained she right. She addressed her imaginary audience again. Even back home, she had one pick up a dot. Well, like the old folks say, who don't hate us feel. I don't know why she can't find decent people to play with nice. 'Tis a young lady who's come in. Why she don't hear that? She threw up her hands and shook them in the air like laundry to dry as she headed for the kitchen. But Adrian didn't see. But lad, come here, if you ain't busy with this one, no? She gonna dead me. Her mother's voice trailed behind Adrian like the loose, narrow tie to her dress, nipping at the back of her leg, to her tiny room until she slowly closed the door on it. Those words had become a common refrain since they came from their home in Tortola to the South Bronx a year ago. What was so wrong with Makiba? But it wasn't her fault that not many people where she was from lived there. Makiba was the only brown face that was friendly to her the whole time. Makiba was the only one who didn't laugh at her accent or make jokes about God leaving her in the oven too long. She was the only one who would walk home with her from IS 60. She even tried to teach her how they skip rope. Here, they call it triple or double-eyed fish or something. Dutch, double Dutch. Adrian preferred skip rope with one rope, but how could she give up her friend? She was the only one who believed her about the stairs and came with her. Adrian sat on the windowsill and looked outside to the street. The Grand Concourse was littered with little dark dots that scrambled around each other, but their squeals of pleasure floated up with the heat, mixed in with sirens and car horns. It was Saturday, and school had just been let out the day before, and she was inside, without a friend. Oh, why had Mommy left Claudette behind? Even though her 6-year-old sister was a little tattletale, at least she would be company when stuck indoors. Adrian tried to look past the child protector gates down to the street again. They disliked her, but what she would give to be playing with them now. The heat made her feel tired, and smells of saltfish seeped under her door and lulled her to sleep. "Where the road meets the stairs," came the loud whisper. "Okay, come in," was the reply. "Hey, what happened to the secret reply? I went through the trouble to say my part." Okay, and the stairs lead you home. Better?" Makita turned her head to see if anyone was coming and tried to slip quickly under the landing with Adrian, but her beads made too much noise, and Adrian complained, "Lord, them things could wake up the dead." And that's where the story ends. I sadly cannot remember what in the world was the deal. I don't remember what was under the stairs. I don't know, child. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. But I really liked the beginning, and so I wanted to share it. And I kind of, it's still a little clunky in that getting the different voices right for the different characters. I mean, I introduced a whole bunch of characters all at once, like this big old group of 5 boys, these 2 young girls from both Black, but from different cultures, and then another mother. And then, I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot right at the beginning. And I really wish I could remember where in the world I was planning on taking this. But, I felt like at the time I could have, I started this in, I think this was May. Yeah, this is May 1994. So it was right at the end of my senior year, and it was probably right at the beginning of my summer because Bates kind of let out kind of early. So I was starting to write, and I just put it down and paused it and just never went back to it. But there's a bunch of other stories like this that are partially written, but I wanted to share it just because I really liked the color. I liked where I was starting to go with this. And you know what? I could probably finish this. I would just have to really think about what I wanted the story to be and where I wanted to go. And even though, yes, back to the people in my in my real life, even though, yes, I did grow up on a street called the Grand Concourse. Again, like I said, I took pieces of my life and it's all a conflated amalgamation, but the scene that I imagined in my head, and I didn't really, describe the hallway or anything like that very well. But it was not even in my imagination when I read it, when I think of it, it does not even look like the building that I grew up in. So anyhow, I hope that you enjoyed. And I'm sorry I lied. I am going to make some minor edits to this because there were just some long pauses where I was like, wait, what in the world did I write? So, and I cut those out. So, it is slightly edited, but I hope that you enjoy this little slice of Caribbean American life. And, I'm not sure what I'm going to read next, but I'm going to read like 2 or 3 more pieces. And then I want to do an episode where I talk a little bit more about my writing process. So that's what's coming up in the next couple of episodes. I hope you've been enjoying me just reading and sharing some older stories. And I will get into sharing things that are more current and that I'm currently working on, in a short story series that I've pretty much gotten through the first draft. I haven't done much more, but I do want to release a collection of stories next year in 2025. So I will start introducing that to you guys in a couple of more episodes. So stick around and let me know what you think about Unpublished, and I'll hang out with you guys in the next episode. Bye.